separating is never easy, especially when it comes time to telling the kids about what's happening. So tell me, Nardine, what's the best way for parents to break the news?
Sure. So of course it depends on the age of your children, but there's a couple of things that would be relevant no matter how old they are. I think the most important thing is to impress upon children that this isn't their fault. The second thing is to tell them that mum and dad love them dearly. They just can't be together anymore. So the reason that you tell a child straight up is that none of this is because of you. Children tend to blame themselves for a separation. When you talk to kids, most children will say they think that mum and dad split up because they were naughty, or they didn't do what they were told, or they didn't clean their room or do their homework. So it's important for parents to say to their children, this is not about you, this is just because mum and dad just can't live together anymore. And the important thing is, mum and dad, we both love you really, just like we always did. We're going to have two really good homes. So instead of having one house, you're now going to have two nice places to go, and make it a really positive experience for them. Hard to do, easy to tell you to do this, and it's hard to do, but if you can do it together and show it as something that's a united thing that you've both decided, putting it in a positive light, trying to keep it, you take some of the emotional out of it. If you can show that your children that it's something that mum and dad have agreed upon, that mum and dad think this will make everybody's life better, then I think kids will cope with that easier.
Yes, because there is going to be emotions from all of you,
Of course,
I think, at that moment.
You can't say, look, don't cry in front of your children, because you will, and the children will cry, and then, you know, it's a very upsetting thing to do. So you've really got to be positive about it and just be very mindful of how they're going to cope with it. Be very watchful of them in the time after that to see how they are coping. A child who says, no, look, it's good, mum, I'm glad you and dad have split up because you were fighting too much. Great, but don't take that at face value, because your kid's probably saying that. You really need to be watching them, make sure that they're not withdrawing from their friends, that they're not doing things that are out of character for them. You'd be looking at their schoolwork, is that dropping? Anything like that is a sign that children aren't coping with the separation, and you really want to start getting onto some counselling for them.
So what are some other positive things that families can do? So counselling, you were just mentioning then.
Counselling is great. Putting a positive spin on it at all times if you possibly can. It's choosing your words and how you say that to your child. For example, no, we can't go there this weekend, darling, because daddy's not paying mum any money. That sort of stuff. You can't do that, right? You've got to think of ways to say what needs to be said without it being a put down of the other person, or without it being really emotional and distressing and the child seeing how upset you are all the time.
So you really need a buddy that you can ring and say all that stuff to, but you just can't say that sort of passive-aggressive stuff to the children.
Yeah, not on the kids. But look, making it a positive thing, Mum and dad are really sad that it didn't work out with us. We're sad that we're separating, but the good thing about it is that dad's going to go and find this nice flat to live in. You can go and choose which bedroom is yours. You can help decorate it. You can go and see dad on the weekends or see mum on the weekends, trying to make it a positive experience for a child rather than it's all really horrible and sad.
Because it's statistically proven that children with divorced parents may perform worse academically, among other issues. So have you got any more tips and advice on that, if the children are sliding, I guess?
Yeah, you just need to be aware of it, that it's probably going to happen. A personal story with my separation is my son, who was about 10 at the time. He was one of those kids that was like, he was sad, he was upset about it, but it was great. I was congratulating myself about how well I'd done with these kids coping after separation. And about 6 months later, he just fell in a heap and just had this horrible breakdown almost of horrible crying. And, so he stored it all up. He told me that he was fine, and then suddenly it all came out. So looking back on that, the signs were there, a bit of withdrawal, a bit of obviously tears, not doing as well at school, not seeing his friends as much. So the signs were all there if I'd known to look for them, and I didn't know. So, and you don't, how do you know? So the thing is, get some advice, get some counselling, do some research, look at, there's so much information out there about children after separation and how you can assist them. Ideally get on board with the other parent and make it something that you do together, and just be watchful of your children and make sure that they really are okay.
You created these two, three, four, however many children you've had. You've created these children together, the two of you is what I was trying to say. So you've just got to put the children first, I guess, and look after them like you were when you were under the same roof. But if you are after a family lawyer to assist you through this tough time, then get in touch with the team at Collier Lawyers today.